Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my 6 top foundations that look like skin. So I just spent the last hour kind of narrowing down my collection, really picking out the foundations that I feel have the most natural looking finish. They're not too matte, they're not too glowy, they have decent coverage without looking heavy, and they stand the test of wearability. They stay on the skin, they don't require an excessive amount of touch-ups, they don't get greasy or shiny throughout the day, and I've narrowed it down to 6. I have 2 budget-friendly options that you can pick up from the drugstore. I have 3 kind of mid-range price points that you can pick up at Sephora, and then I have 1 luxury foundation that you can pick up also at Sephora. So I'll have links and I'll have my shade names and all of that down in the description box below. But let's get started. We're gonna just start with the luxury one. We're gonna just get that one out of the way. It is the Cocondo Aqua Foundation, and I am the shade, so I don't forget to tell you, 123. Now this foundation was on my wish list for a good, at least a year. It was on, I've only purchased I think 2 luxury foundations. It's this one and the La Mer, which I also love. That one's beautiful, but I didn't want to put that one in here because it's $120. This one though, it is so beautiful. I had wanted this for so long. My friend Caitlin, who is a makeup artist, came over to my house and did my makeup. I was surprised with what a subtle glow this gave and how it lasted and wore so well throughout the day. I typically don't gravitate towards glowy foundations because I worry that they're gonna look shiny throughout the day. I live in Texas, it's hot. I have a oily T-zone, I'm combo skin, so normally I go for like more of a natural matte foundation so that I can put it on and it looks good most of the day. This one actually stood the test and it looked good all day long. It did require some touch-ups, but nothing excessively. This retails for $77. It's up there, you guys. It comes in 10 shades. It is described as having a medium coverage, and I would totally agree with that. I think you can get a softer coverage, but you can build it up to about a medium coverage, and it has a natural finish. So that's gonna kind of be a common thread among all these foundations, is that natural finish, meaning that it's not gonna look flat and matte, but it's not gonna look really glowy or shiny or like pearlescent. It just looks like your skin is flawless and perfected and has been recently moisturized and hydrated. I think that's the best way to describe this foundation. It's really, really beautiful. I do want to read you a couple of bullet points from the website for each of the foundations, so I cover all of the 411. So this is actually great for all skin types. On Sephora's website, it says normal dry combination. It has a natural finish. We talked about that. It is a high definition, long wearing mineral foundation with a natural luminous finish. So when you see that it's created for high definition, that basically means it's going to look like skin, because high definition cameras and television, you see everything. You see all the makeup. So the idea is that you don't see that in these products. So anytime you see that a product is designed for high definition film or photography, that is what it means. Okay, a few other things. Aqua Foundation's long wearing feather weight formula includes Cocondo's new gloss film powder, which helps it fit onto the skin and softly brighten areas of dullness. Now with increased coverage, sweat resistance, and oil resistance, this formulation's light diffusing minerals and weightless base hydrates skin for a flawless complexion and youthful glow that lasts all day. I would agree 100% with all of those claims. The next foundation can also be picked up at Sephora. It is by Wander Beauty and it is their Nude Illusion Foundation. I am the shade medium in this foundation. We drop in price point almost half. This is a $40. It comes in 12 shades. It also is great for all skin types. So on Sephora's site, it claims to be good for dry, normal, and oily skin. This claims to have full coverage and a natural finish. And I would agree with that. You do get a little bit more coverage. It is buildable, but it still looks natural. So this is the only one, I believe, out of the 6 that claims to have full coverage. You'll find that the others are more medium or light to medium, but this foundation is so beautiful. It's very different in the sense that it has, the applicator is one of those doe foot wand applicators, which I really like. Even though it's full coverage, you guys, it's so lightweight. It has a very interesting texture to it. It's like, it almost feels like serum foundations, just that really light consistency. So a few things that Sephora.com says about this foundation. It also is a weightless fluid foundation formulated for full coverage with a natural radiant finish. So it is going to give you a slight glow, but if you want to kind of powder that down, you definitely can. Even though it has a glow, again, the wearability on this is really impressive. None of the foundations that I'm going to be sharing today are, they all have great wearability. I have worn wearing these, they have a slight glow, but they still look really great on the skin after 6 or 7 hours. Nude Illusion gives skin a filtered finish with all-day coverage without ever feeling heavy. It resists heat, humidity, and sweat. As little as 1 layer magically makes blemishes, redness, and discoloration disappear with an undetectable skin-like finish. This formula is enriched with niacinamide to reduce the appearance of wrinkles and even skin tone. It also contains lotus extract to help balance sebum production and support natural skin elasticity. So I didn't realize that. It helps control oil production throughout the day. So that obviously is going to help with its wearability. I also want to mention that with all of these foundations, my favorite way to apply them is with the foundation brush. And I love to use a brush like the BK Beauty brush, which is, you know, just kind of a small rounded foundation brush. The reason I like this is because I really like to build more coverage in the center of the face by pressing. And you can really achieve that with any of these foundations because most of them are not full coverage aside from the Wander Beauty. Doing that is going to allow you to get a little bit more coverage from them. You can also use a sponge that's going to shear them out and give them a more sheer natural coverage. The next foundation is by Makeup Forever, and it is the Reboot foundation. And this is a newer foundation. This launched, I believe, this year. I actually did a video review of it. And I will say there are 2 foundations in my top 6 that I have grown to love so much since my first review of them. I remember doing the review and liking them, being favorable to them, but not like, oh my God, these foundations are amazing. And then I've just like really grown to love them over the last, several months since I've tested them. So that is definitely with the Makeup Forever Reboot. I remember a lot of people giving me tips in my video of how to make it work and they loved it. I don't think I was that impressed with it the first time I tried it. And it's such a beautiful foundation, especially for me in the winter months when my skin gets a little bit drier. And I need a little more hydration, and I steer, it really depends on the time of year when I test foundations. If I'm testing a satin finish foundation, which is what this foundation is, if I'm testing that in the dead of summer, it's probably not gonna go well, but come November or December, it's gonna be my go-to foundation. So this foundation comes in 24 shades. It retails for $39. It claims to have light to medium coverage, and I do agree with that. This is one of the few of the 6 that does have that light to medium range. Most of these fall in the medium range. This is buildable, meaning that you can build it to get more coverage without compromising that natural finish. You're not gonna build it to get it a really heavy cakey look. It's just gonna build, but you're still gonna keep that natural finish integrity. I think most of them are good for all skin types. This one is not recommended for oily skin types. This is more for normal to dry, and it's because it has that satin finish. So that satin, most of these are all normal finish. That satin finish is going to basically mean it's gonna give a little bit more of a glow. I still think this looks like skin though, because it is so lightweight and it just disappears into the skin. It doesn't look like makeup. It just looks radiant and hydrated on the skin. But again, if you tend to have oily skin or if you have large pores, I would either use a primer on your pores or I would kind of steer clear of this one because it will likely settle into your pores or be excessively shiny if you're oily. Okay, so a few things from Makeup Forever's website about this foundation. It's ideal for normal to dry skin types. Skincare infused foundation significantly reduces the appearance of wrinkles and increases hydration for 24 hours. Skin feels supple, plumped, and is visibly smoother, while a radiant satin finish leaves the complexion looking flawless and bright all day long. Ginseng stimulates collagen production. Mondo grass helps strengthen the skin's protective barrier. Light to medium coverage, satin finish, brightens and smooths and firms skin's appearance. So those are a few benefits from the Makeup Forever website. The texture of this, I'm gonna pump it here on my hand so you guys can see, is a liquid. You can see that it's starting to slide down my hand. So it's a very lightweight texture to it. It's not a thick cream, but it's not extremely watery either. So nice. I love makeup. I just love putting makeup on my hand and playing with it. For the shade, I am the shade Y305, and I do think this is a good match. It's a little warm for me, but it blends into the skin because it is that lighter coverage. I can make it work. The next foundation has been a go-to of mine recently. It is the newest foundation of the 6. It is the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better Foundation Plus Skincare, and this is definitely one that I fell in love with more after my initial review. I do remember liking it in my initial review, but this is such an exceptional, I think of all 6, this would probably be my favorite. Of all 4 like higher end, this would be my favorite of the four. I do have one drugstore that I think I probably like equally as much to this that I'll share next with you guys. I am the shade, what shade am I in this? Medium Cool 30. So this foundation retails for $39.50. It comes in 40 shades. It is described as having a medium coverage. It's supposed to be great for all skin types, and it's described as having a natural finish. I would agree with all of those things. I think what I love most about this is the lightweight texture of it. I will show you. It is very, very lightweight. I mean, all of these are in a sense, but this one is just very lightweight. When you blend it into the skin, it feels like I mean, you can feel that skincare in it. It feels like a foundation with a skincare product in it. And the wearability is really impressive. I feel like it looks pretty much the same, like from initial application as it does on me 5 or 6 hours later, which for a natural finish foundation, that is really impressive because typically I have to powder at least once in that 6-hour time frame. But with this one, I mean, it just looks good all day long. It doesn't wear off. It does wear off on a mask. If I put a mask, there is transfer there, but it doesn't fade. I don't find that it migrates into pores, or I don't find that migrates around my nose. It just looks good all day long, and it feels incredibly lightweight. Okay, so let me read you all the 411 on this foundation because it's so good. I don't want to miss anything. It's a lightweight, buildable, hydrating foundation with a natural radiant finish that works to give you better looking skin instantly and over time. So that is one of the unique claims. The Makeup Forever also has some skincare boasts to it as well. It says that over time your skin will be improved, but the It Cosmetics really makes those claims, saying that if you use it over time, it's actually going to improve your skin. So it's not just a makeup product, it's actually skincare, a treatment as well. I don't really know that I can speak to that, to be honest. I mix my foundations up a lot. I don't use one foundation consistently for 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm always changing products so often that, let's be real, can I really like isolate it and say, oh, this foundation, you know, made my skin look so much better 3 weeks after? No, I don't think I can make that claim. Just being real. It's normal, dry combination, and oily skin type, so all skin types. So I was kind of surprised to see oily in here, to be honest, but they say it's great for oily skin. Okay, hyaluronic acid and aloe vera instantly hydrate visibly smooth skin. Vitamins E and B5 moisturize and fight free radicals to support skin's barrier. In a 2-week consumer study with 10 participants, 70% say the skin looks smoother. So definitely one to check out. If you haven't picked this one up, but you've been seeing all the hype, I can stand behind it and say the hype is totally true. I really love this one. I think I shared the shade on Medium Cool. If I had to pick out of the 4 high-end, this would be the one I would have to narrow it down to. It's just a phenomenal foundation. Okay, and the last 2 foundation are budget-friendly buys you can pick up at the drugstore. They are both by L'Oreal. I kind of hesitated putting the second one in here, but I decided to put it in here, and I will explain why. But let's start with the first one that I would say is probably as good as far as finish, coverage, wearability as the It Cosmetics. It's going to be the L'Oreal Fresh Wear Foundation. I love this foundation. It is such a gem. I'm a fan of L'Oreal products overall. I find that, you know, there's a lot of products in most of their categories that I like. I like a few other of their foundations, but if I had to narrow it down to the best skincare looking foundation in their line, it would be this one. So this one retails for, I think I found it on Ulta for $14.99, so about $15. It comes in 40 shades, so it comes in an extensive shade library. It is described as having a medium to full and buildable coverage. So this is another one along with the Wander Beauty that can get to a full coverage. I do agree that you can build it. And when you build foundation, I would always advise that you do it this way. Instead of grabbing a lot and packing it on and trying to blend a lot in at one time, do a little layer, blend the whole face in, and then analyze and decide, okay, I need a little bit more coverage here, so I'm gonna build more there. Don't necessarily like put a whole second layer all over the face if you don't need it. Really just build to get what you need and not more. This is described as having a natural finish. I would totally agree with that. It's not, you know, really dewy or pearlescent looking, but it's definitely not on the matte side. It has this natural skin-like look, and it is described as being long-lasting. And again, I would totally agree with that. I think these two really, as far as longevity and having that skin-like look, they both are probably the top 2 out of the 6. Okay, let's see what L'Oreal has to say about this foundation before we move on to the next. Okay, it says, introducing L'Oreal's breakthrough longwear foundation with breathable skin technology, Provides medium to full buildable coverage that lasts all day and allows the skin to breathe. This formula's 3 oil absorbers resist sweat, water, and transfer. Ultra thin liquid goes on smoothly to give a fresh, healthy looking complexion that lasts. It also has an SPF, and I believe the SPF is 25, which is always nice. Of course, we don't want to rely on our foundation for our SPF, but I do have to say when I find a foundation with an SPF that I like, it's kind of a bonus for me. Long-lasting foundation, waterproof, transfer resistant, everything we already covered. So yes, definitely recommend this one. If you haven't picked this one up, I don't know what you're waiting for. I would go for it. I am the shade 460. Okay, and the last one I almost didn't include in this video, but I decided to include it because I wanted to have one more budget-friendly option for you guys, and that is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. Now, the reason that I almost didn't include it is because it is a glowy foundation and it's described as having more of a glowy, radiant finish. But it's been a while since I used this, but I remember what I loved most about this is that it didn't really look excessively glowy. It was the one glowy foundation that I felt wasn't so glowy. So I'm including it in this video. It comes in 12 shades, which is kind of limiting. There wasn't a whole lot of information on the website when I tried to look up. I did grab a couple things I'll share. It retails for $12.99. It's described as having medium coverage and it's supposed to be great for normal to dry skin. So this is one of the foundations that is not recommended for a more oily skin type, which totally makes sense. It has an SPF of 15 in it. I am the shade 204 Natural Buff. And before the Fresh Wear launched, I remember this was like the one I raved about. I loved this one. This definitely has a bit more of a glowy finish than this one. This one looks a little more natural, but I do still think it looks like skin because it is very lightweight. I'm gonna show you here on my hand. It's very lightweight. It has a really nice like featherweight, breathable texture to it. And you can really blend it into the skin so that it completely disappears. It is also described as having a medium coverage, so you can get pretty decent coverage from this. It's not completely sheer or too light. So when I went to, did I get this from Sephora or L'Oreal's site? There wasn't a whole lot of information, so I'm not sure if, you know, they're kind of focusing on the hero product, maybe phasing that out. I just made that up. That could totally not be a thing. So it says, discover the new pro finish of longwear, up to 24-hour wear with a hydrating glow, lightweight and creamy long-lasting foundation. And that's really all it says. It doesn't actually say, no, it does say it's a medium coverage. So yeah, so I do like this one as well. Of the two, I think it's obvious that this one would be my favorite, but again, I wanted to give you guys two options, and in case for whatever reason your skin reacts poorly to one or the other, you have another option to check out. And that wraps it up, you guys. Those are my top 6 skin look-alike foundations. I would love to know what are your favorite foundations. Obviously, these are just my top 6 from my collection. I'm sure there's some great finds out there that I haven't tried, so please let me know what are your favorite. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.